Hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
So focus on that point, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, just focus on that point, and as you breathe out, just relax the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. Keep focusing on that point. Breathe in through your nose, and on the out breath, just relax those eyelids and close your eyes. That's it. And I want you to use your imagination to imagine that as you breathe in, that you're breathing in a feeling of calm and relaxation. Breathing in that relaxation, and as you breathe out, just releasing any tension, any stress. Breathing in and out through the nose. That's it, breathing in that feeling of relaxation. And as you release it, that's it, release any tension. And I want you to think about breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to entertain an idea, a simple idea, that you can go for perhaps weeks without eating. You would feel hungry as you breathe in and you breathe out, but your body would start feeding off its own body fat, a state known as ketosis, and before long, you wouldn't even feel hungry at all. And you can survive perhaps maybe 3 or 4 days without water. You'd be very thirsty. But your body would just use the supplies that you have. And you can survive a few days, perhaps even a week without sleep. Your body would force yourself to do micro sleeps. I want you to entertain a single idea that the most important thing in your life is simply to breathe. As you breathe in, create an image in your mind of what it's like for the oxygen to go in through your nose, into your lungs, without any conscious involvement, that your heart has the ability to extract the oxygen from your lungs and circulate it to every single cell in your body. And that as you breathe out, that same process happens in reverse, and any waste, any carbon dioxide can just leave your body in your outward breath. And I want you to take a really deep breath in and just hold it. And keep holding that breath. And realize that your body right now is processing that oxygen. But the oxygen is turning into carbon dioxide. That's it. And as you exhale, realize that in just a few seconds, it became uncomfortable for you not to breathe. That if the body has simply a few minutes without breath, the insufficient oxygen in your blood would cause irreversible brain damage. Shortly after, you would be clinically dead. In just a single breath, I want your unconscious mind to accept just one suggestion: that without the ability to breathe, there is no life. And I want you to think right now about everything that's of the utmost importance to you. Whatever you value most highly, consider that none of that is possible without life. And life is not possible without breath. And I want you to try as hard as you can to consider how you can live and breathe without lungs. And as you entertain that thought, I want you to imagine that you're floating up out of your body. Just imagine what that would be like to float up, leaving your body, and imagine what it would be like to see yourself there, as if you're someone else, breathing in and breathing out, looking relaxed. And very soon I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and I want you to imagine that you've got the ability to float and fly away to a beach, a relaxing beach. And because it's happening in your imagination, you can float and fly wherever you want. You can fly through walls, fly up to the clouds. You can equally go backwards and forwards in time. But keep holding on to that idea of how it's possible to breathe without lungs. And let's count down now. 10. Just imagine floating up perhaps through the ceiling into the sky, feeling 10% deeper and deeper relaxed. 9. Feeling that floaty, light sensation, like gravity doesn't exist. 8. Another 10% deeper and deeper relaxed, as you can imagine perhaps being a superhero flying over roads, fields, towns, villages. 7. Another 10% deeper relaxed. Perhaps you're getting faster now, perhaps higher, maybe above the cloud line. Going deeper and deeper relaxed now. 6. Another 10% deeper and deeper relaxed, as you can just feel the wind blasting on your face as you're flying through the air. And perhaps now already you're over seas. 5. Halfway there, deeper and deeper relaxed. 4. Perhaps now over a new country. Seeing perhaps cars travelling on a different side of the road. 4. Another 10% deeper relaxed. Maybe seeing different architecture. Maybe noticing that the temperature is warmer. 3. Another 10% deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. And 2. Perhaps getting very close to that beach. Maybe it's all the way on the horizon, but you know it's there. Getting closer and closer. And 1. Seeing that beach. And now just imagine touching down onto that beach. And 0. Feeling your feet on the sand of that beach. But this beach is a private beach. There is no one else there, only you. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to feel your feet on the sand, feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, perhaps look at the sea and hear the gentle breaking of the waves on the shore. And I want you to imagine there is some kind of recliner or chair that gives you the perfect view of the sea. I want you to imagine getting onto that recliner or chair, feeling your body sink into that chair. And as you breathe in and breathe out, again have an appreciation that all of this is only possible to the extent that your lungs work. Breathing in that relaxation, exhaling any tension. And with each and every breath, you'll go deeper and deeper relaxed. And we're going to start letting go of any residual tension. As you imagine being there on that beach, looking out to the sea, as you breathe in through your nose, I want you to focus on any and all tension around your eyelids and eyes. Breathing in that relaxation, noticing any tension. And as you release that breath, that's it. Let go of that tension. Now, that's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. Pay attention to any tension in your jaw. Breathe in that feeling of relaxation. Become aware of any tension in the jaw. And as you release the breath, just let go of that tension now. That's it. Now focus on the muscles in your neck and your shoulders. And I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine that tension is best represented by crystals of ice. Because tension on muscles make muscles rigid, just like ice crystals. But here you are on the beach, and as you breathe in that feeling of relaxation, I want you to imagine that those crystals of ice are gradually but slowly melting away. And you've seen that many times. Perhaps an ice cube on a sunny day, melting away in the sunshine. Breathing in that relaxation and allowing that tension to just melt away. Now, that's it. Going all the way down your arms, all the way down to your fingers. There you are on that chair on the beach. Arms so completely relaxed that if someone was to lift them up, they would be loose and limp, just like the limbs of a puppet without any strings. That's it. Deeper and deeper relaxed. And the same thing's now happening. Now happening to your legs. Feel your legs getting deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. Totally relaxed now. As you breathe in, I want you to imagine that your lungs are relaxing, your diaphragm is relaxing, your internal organs are all starting to relax. And I want you to imagine being so relaxed that you're going to do something that I'm sure you've done before, and that is just fall asleep under the sun on the beach. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1, and I want you to imagine what it would be like to fall asleep in that reclined chair on the beach. 5, almost feeling a desire to yawn. 4, feeling deeper and deeper relaxed. 3, that's it, feeling like you're about to nod off. 2, 1, just imagine falling asleep on that beach in that chair. And imagine that you've got the ability to dream that you're on the same beach, and try that now. See yourself fast asleep on that reclined chair on the beach. I want you to imagine picking up one of your hands, one of your arms, just checking that the arm is indeed limp and loose and completely relaxed. That's right. And I want you to explore the beach until you can find the perfect view of the sea and the sky. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to just look at a few fluffy white clouds there in the sky. And I want something unusual to happen. I want you to look at those fluffy white clouds, and I want you to imagine what it would be like for those fluffy white clouds to start spelling out a word made of fluffy white clouds in the sky in that beach. And that word is relax. R-E-L-A-X. Relax. And every time you read the word relax, you feel more relaxed. It doesn't matter if you spell it R-E-L-A-X or just sounded out the word relax. Either way, you feel deeper relaxed. And then something interesting happened. Those words, those letters turn into numbers. And that number is 999. And I want you to look at that number, read that number, and then notice that the final digit is changing to an 8. 998. And as you look at those numbers, it occurs to you that now the clouds are a giant countdown timer in the sky. Going down from 999 to 998, now to 997. Now the logical conscious part of your mind is confused, mesmerized, transfixed as to how it can be that there is a countdown timer made of clouds in the sky, and allow that logical, analytical part of your mind to be transfixed, mesmerized, confused, but completely obsessed with looking at these numbers as they count down. Allow that logical part to do that now, as I communicate to a different part. I'm communicating to a part now that wants a future different to the current trajectory. That part that wants a future of freedom, independence, to continue walking down the beach, looking back, seeing there are two different versions of you. The logical, analytical part is staring at the clouds in the sky counting down, and the conscious mind is fast asleep on a reclined chair on the beach. But I'm now communicating to a part that wants change. And this continues to walk down the beach. You can still feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, perhaps the sand under your toes, feeling light, effortless, completely detached and relaxed. Focusing still on that question: how is it possible to breathe without lungs? And how is it possible to live without breath? Almost like it's a riddle, continue thinking about those questions as you continue to walk down the beach. That's it. And I want you to notice there is a door. A door not attached to any building, just a door. It generates curiosity. I want you to imagine that this door is going to take you to a deeper part of your subconscious mind, a place where habits are formed and habits are changed. I want you to imagine being in front of the door, and only you get to decide what type of door it is. It could be made of wood, metal, glass, plastic. You decide. The door is locked. In one of your hands you're holding a key, and that key has been there all along. You've got the ability to unlock the door. I'm going to count down from 5 to 1. You will unlock the door, open the door, walk through the door, and it will take you to a large, empty, well-lit room, a deeper part of your subconscious mind. At the point where you hear that the door is unlocked, you will unlock a resource that you've used several times throughout your life to make a decision. Sometimes you make decisions that you change your mind later, but many times you've made a decision that you've stuck to. That from that decision, it was effortless from that point onwards because it was a clear, decisive decision. Some people say that the Latin root of decision means to cut off any other option or possibility other than that you are choosing. And when the door unlocks, you will unlock that resource to be decisive and committed, so that the decision is easy after that point. Unlocking the door. 5, putting the key into the lock. 4, rotating the key. 3, hearing the click to signify that the door is now unlocked, also unlocking that decisive ability within you. 2, pulling the door open. 1, walking through the door. 0, closing the door behind you, and you are now in a large, empty, well-lit room. And there is a large screen in front of you, almost like a small cinema. And on that screen, I want you to imagine that you can see your future. And the first future that I want you to witness and observe is a future where nothing changes. I want you to imagine that as a result of this, nothing changes whatsoever. You continue to do exactly what you wish to do. And by doing so, nothing has changed. I want you to see what the rest of the day looks like, tomorrow looks like, continuing that habit of smoking. You see yourself, perhaps make certain expressions, maybe thoughts running through your head, but fundamentally nothing changes. And witness that as you see yourself on screen. The days turn into weeks, turn into months. and everything was as if nothing happened. But I want you to fast forward to a point where there is a doctor's appointment. I want you to see yourself on that screen, nervously waiting in a waiting area. You're called into the doctor's clinic, and you can observe as the doctor is informing you that as a result of this habit of smoking, there is significant damage to your lungs. He warns you that unless you quit, and quit immediately, you may be dependent on breathing through oxygen canisters, or perhaps it could lead to some kind of cancer or complication that could lead to your death. Imagine that you're watching that almost like a hidden camera or a fly on the wall. Suddenly the doctor, interpreting the test results, everything feels very real. I want you to climb into that version of you hearing that news. And just pay attention to the inner thoughts inside your mind upon hearing that as a result of this smoking habit, damage has been caused, but luckily this damage could potentially be mitigated or even reversed. And be aware of any inner thoughts, emotions, feelings at this particular point. Perhaps there's a feeling of determination, maybe a feeling that enough is finally enough, that this is no longer worth it. But it's also possible that this news resulted in an immediate source of anxiety or tension, but then things return to exactly the same behavior. And I want you to go back into that room, continue watching this movie, as maybe you do give up smoking, maybe for a few days, but then something stressful happens and you start smoking again. I want you to fast forward perhaps a few months or even a year into the future, where you're back in that doctor's clinic. This time, it's more grave news. The doctor is now telling you that as a direct result of your smoking, your lung capacity is only working at 80% to the level that it should. That from this point onwards, you're going to need to, at home, breathe through a mask connected to a canister of oxygen, and that if you do want to leave the house, there would be a smaller canister attached to tubes. I want you to climb into that version of you, breathing that oxygen through the mask for the very first time. And while you're happy that this device will enable you to live some kind of normality, there's also a feeling of how much restriction and limitation is going to be incurred. I want you to imagine being in this body for the next few weeks, encountering the stress, the hassle, the anxiety when you notice that small canister is running low. And I want you to imagine that this means that the final years of your life are impeded. There are certain places you can't go, certain things you can't do. And as you process that future, I want you to realize that all futures are just possibilities. And all possibilities are influenced by behaviours, and behaviours can be one-offs or consistent. Those consistent behaviours we call habits. I want you to imagine that you're now reversing that. Everything's happening backwards. Those years, those months, those weeks, those days all happen in reverse. All the way back. But I want you to imagine that you go all the way back to the very first time that you started smoking. Perhaps the very first time. I want you to see yourself on screen, perhaps a teenager, a child even. Seeing the very first time that perhaps you tried or were offered. And I want you to imagine climbing into that version of you, that much younger version of you. I want you to make sure that you're in your body back then, feeling as you did then at that age. And I want you to recall that very first time that you smoked. The feeling, the taste. And I want you to really, really notice your body's reaction. That reaction to that very first time. I want you to notice that instant reaction of disgust. Nausea, perhaps. Perhaps you recall coughing. And maybe you tried to brush it off. But I want you to get a sense that your body was giving you clues. Clues that this was not useful, desirable, or helpful. And I want you to increase the intensity of that feeling of disgust. Hone into that feeling of disgust, that nausea. Remember the smell, the taste. Increase that feeling of taste on your tongue. That's it. Double it, then treble it, then quadruple it again. Feeling it for the very first time. And from this point onwards, all smoking will trigger this very same idea, sensation. That's it. And if you feel like there is a feeling of disgust at the idea of smoking, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And then I want you to imagine that you're now back in that room, seeing a different future. Seeing yourself sat there in a chair, making a decision, unlocking that decisive element deep within your subconscious mind to make a decision and stick to that decision. You've done it before, you can do it again. Some decisions are hard. Some decisions involve sacrifice. But decisions that are stuck to are because there is more upside than downside. Now the idea of smoking is simply giving you the idea of experiencing a disgusting sensation. And I want you to imagine that you see yourself making a decision, a firm decision, a total decision, cutting off the idea. And the idea isn't to give up smoking forever. It's simply not to have the next one. Because if you don't have the next one, then it means that you are, at that point, a non-smoker. And I want you to see yourself on screen now as a non-smoker. Someone that made the decision that's now in your past. And from that point onwards, all of those needs, all of those benefits, all of those good feelings that you used to get from smoking, you found alternative ways to get those same good things. And I want you to see it going forward now into your future. For the next few hours, see what those different choices are. the next few days. Perhaps you see yourself throwing out certain things, perhaps getting new things. I want you to notice that perhaps for the first day or two, you see your body adjusting to the nicotine withdrawal. Perhaps those tidal hairs at the back of the throat start regrowing again, causing you to cough. And I want you to see all of those things that may be uncomfortable is simply your body adjusting to a new, healthy, more desirable future. Every cough, every feeling of craving is evidence that your body is recovering. And I want you to see yourself on that screen, recovering for the next few days and few weeks with absolute certainty that there is no desire or need to smoke in your future. You see yourself doing alternatives that can meet all the needs that were being met. And I want you to notice that as the days turn into weeks, suddenly you have a new identity. An identity of being a non-smoker. That you do accept that that was part of your past, but you are accepting of other people that choose to smoke, even though you've made the decision to no longer do that anymore. As the days turn into weeks, turn into months, I want you to see that perhaps this was the start of a sequence of events where you incrementally make healthier decisions. Perhaps you drink more water. Perhaps you walk or move more. I want you to notice that it feels easier to breathe as the weeks turn into months. You notice that certain tastes that were always there in food start to come back again. Certain smells that were always there, you get to smell again. I want you to notice that as you wake up in the morning, you feel with more energy. As you do, perhaps walking or exercising, notice it's getting easier and easier. That's right. I want you to step into that future version of you where everything that smoking was giving you is now being met with an alternative. You have all the resources necessary to continue living with that future. The upside is way better than whatever you thought you would miss. And each and every day gets easier and easier. You're inside that future version of you, and I want you to go 2 years now into the future where you haven't smoked for 2 years. Notice that it's easier to breathe. I want you to notice that as you look at yourself in a reflection, that you look like you've got younger, have more energy, that you enjoy food more. And I want you right now to decide which of your hands represents that part that desired to smoke. And your other hand represents a future of health, independence, and vitality. And I want you to make sure that both hands currently are separated. And only to the extent that your unconscious mind is happy to find balance, because the key thing is if we don't meet these needs that smoking was giving you in alternative ways, sooner or later you will go back to smoking. Now, I want to communicate to the part of you, the specific part that for so many years has really enjoyed, perhaps even loved smoking. And when I'm communicating to that part, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. I want you to locate where within you that desire to smoke is. It might be a location, a feeling. And with the hand that represents the part that wanted to smoke, I want you to put your hand on where that feeling of desire used to be. That's it. And keep your hand there. That's right. And then I want you to think about this feeling of energy, health, vitality, and freedom that you will get in a future as a non-smoker. Locate where that good, energetic, healthy feeling exists and put that other hand in that different location. That's it. And keep that hand there. And only to the extent that the part that used to desire to smoke is willing to help at an unconscious level, you meet all of those needs and more in alternative ways that do not involve smoking, and to the extent that the future part, the part that wants to be a healthy, independent version of yourself, is willing to work hand in hand, collaboratively, to begin your future as a non-smoker, slowly and incrementally move the hands together until they're touching, symbolizing that they are now working collaboratively. There is no longer any conflict because all the needs, benefits that you used to get from smoking are now going to be secured in alternative ways. Perhaps smoking enabled you to handle stress. So I want you to imagine what it would be like to handle stress in a different way that does not involve smoking. And when you've done that, let me know by nodding your head. Perhaps it helped you to relax in some way. I want you to think right now of a different way in which you could relax that would be infinitely better than by smoking. And when you've thought of that, let me know. That's right. Perhaps you can think of different things that it enabled you to do. Maybe it was a reward at some level for accomplishing something. And I want you to think of other things that you can do for yourself to reward yourself that don't involve smoking. That's it. I want you to think of any other benefit that you can think of that smoking that was giving you. And each time, hand in hand with the resourceful parts, the decisive parts, decide now in advance what can meet that need in even more eloquent and effective ways. You have all the resources deep in your subconscious mind, creative, inspirational ways that everything that smoking used to do for you, you can now meet in alternative ways. And as you do so, you realize that smoking wasn't enjoyable. It was simply giving you the relief that the withdrawals, as they were leaving your body, as your body was recovering, that change felt awful, and by giving yourself that nicotine, it gave you relief that you perceived as pleasure. But actually, all that was happening is you are trapping yourself to a cycle of behavior that was causing damage to the very thing required to enable you to breathe. And you've had all of this time to think, and if you can think of an an alternative, more effective way to breathe than lungs, then let me know by nodding your head. And on the basis that the most effective tool to breathe is your lungs, doesn't it make sense to give your lungs what they really need? Clean, fresh air. You didn't intend to cause damage to your lungs, it was just a side effect of your addiction. But you will now make a commitment to your lungs to make it up for them. From this point forward, you will reward your lungs with the cleanest, freshest air that you can find. You will seek out clean, fresh air in nature. You will enjoy breathing that clean, fresh air. And you will drink lots of water because over time your body can recover. And if you're not only deciding to be a non-smoker, but to also decide to show appreciation to the very thing that enables life to exist for you by rewarding and gifting your lungs fresh, clean air, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And every now and then an idea will pop into your head that maybe you can try just one. That one won't hurt. And I want you to, at the very idea of that, recall that disgusting sensation of your very first try. Recall that feeling of disgust for the very idea of smoking even just one. And the more that you link that to disgust, but also not just disgust, but anger, that you were sold a lie. Nobody told you that it would cause this much damage. You were tricked into perceiving that nicotine was pleasurable, and the consequence of that pleasure was damage to the very thing that created a feeling of being alive. The idea of smoking even just one will fill you with a feeling of anger and a feeling of disgust. The closer it gets to your lips, the increasing feeling of disgust and anger will occur. And the moment you decide that you don't need it, that feeling of disgust and anger will completely transform into a feeling of gratitude that you're doing the right thing by your lungs, and a feeling of pride that you're able to make a decision and stick to it. And that decision will get easier and easier with each and every passing hour, day and week. And if your unconscious mind is happy to accept these suggestions as completely true and factual and beneficial for all parts of your life, then allow both hands to just return, that's it, back to a relaxed position. That's it. I want you to imagine that you're back in that well-lit room, knowing that you've got all the resources to handle setbacks. In your future, there will be stressful, trying times, and I want you to know that you've got all the resources necessary to cope well with those times, with no need for smoking. If your unconscious mind accepts that you've got all the resources necessary to cope, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Now it's time to leave this room, but you leave the room as a non-smoker. The only way you can leave this room is a non-smoker, and when you've left that room and find yourself back out on the beach, let me know by nodding your head. That's right. Your unconscious mind has all the strategies, all the ways to meet all of the needs that smoking was giving you, but without the downsides. Your lungs will get cleaner and healthier with each and every passing day. And with each and every passing day and week, you will find yourself moving in exactly the direction to become more independent, more healthy, full of vitality. And as you walk down the beach, I want you to notice that an analytical, logical part of your mind has been counting clouds all this time. And perhaps you can even see what number is in the sky of those clouds that are counting down. I want you to climb into that body of yours, that logical, analytical part. Notice the number in the sky and feel that you're synchronizing now, integrating with that logical, analytical part of your conscious mind. That logical, analytical part will help solidify this decision that you have now made. Smoking is in your past, and you have a very different future, taking you in a completely different trajectory, avoiding unnecessary health complications and implications by this new decision. As you walk down the beach, you notice there is another version of you lying on a recliner. The conscious part that's been asleep all of this time. I want you to imagine climbing into that version of you, feeling the limp, loose, relaxed limbs. And it occurs to you that this is just a dream within a dream within a dream, and actually you're not on a beach, but you're back right there in your own body, in that room. And very soon I'm going to count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken with a feeling of resourcefulness, a feeling that a decision has been made, feeling that there is a shift, not at the behavior level, but at the identity level. You were a smoker, and you're no longer a smoker. That was something you used to do, and now you do different things, because your identity has changed. And only to the extent that your unconscious mind accepts a shift in your identity will you be able to open your eyes. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you will awaken feeling highly resourceful, completely committed to this new decision, taking your life in positive and healthy directions while still meeting all the needs that smoking used to give you. You will awaken with all normal sensations returning to your arms and legs, fully wide awake, completely in the present. Starting to count to awaken you. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.